Hello everybody, my name's Ryan and I'm a driving instructor, and today the national this thing. So today we got the National Association Strategic Partnership. I'll talk to you about it in a minute. I've done a lot of things. I've been on holiday, I've come back, put a load of videos on. I got a driving test. By the time you see this on Friday, I've already done that driving test. It's Tuesday, which is, I'm filming this on Monday. Got the Clio in the background. Clio's dead. Well, Clio's not quite 100% dead, but I've got to take the stuff out of it, and I might not be using it as a learner car. I might take the pedal out and that, but leave the advert on for a bit. Yeah, like, comment, subscribe if you want to become a channel member. Become a channel. This is a NASP DVSA meeting. This happened whilst I sort of come back and I'd seen it being published. This is from Intelligent Instructor, National Association Strategic Partnership. This is about what's going to happen with the DVSA, like over, and that's going to be the title of the video. What's going to happen with the DVSA, and that's going to happen over the next, well, estimated 5 years. I've been reading the blogs that they put on every so often, and it was a meeting. It was a quarterly meeting with the DVSA. It was held in November 2024 in Bristol. Face-to-face meeting, senior members of DVSA and the NASP associations, which is the industry, the ADI, the approved driving instructors, like things like the big stuff, like the AA and the RED, and these guys went to this. And the DVSA is to review its updates on previous action points, and it goes through and it tells you all the information and what the DVSA is actually admitting to. So this is the stuff that they're admitting to. So the DVSA confirmed that the driving test waiting times in October were 20.5 weeks for England, 15.6 for Scotland, and 12.8 for Wales. And I got all this written down because it's quite a long time. It's significantly more than the 6 weeks that they said was their target, and this is basically way over. So what are they going to do about it? The national average waiting time therefore is 19.5 weeks, slight increase in test availability slots due to full-time testing moving back to business usual at whatever it is. There are 94,000 test slots available to book. The DVSA confirmed its focus 450 new driving examiners into post, but then they give you this stupid like 2-year temporary contract and nobody wants to do it, so that's a big deal. The targeting recruitment efforts are ongoing. New driving examiners will be placed where demand has vastly outpaced testing provision. I presume that's down south, because that's actually the waiting time down there has improved in the south and has dropped in the north. We're looking at April, I think, for most of the spots around here, and that's Blythe, Gosforth, Gateshead, things like that. I printed this out. It's a bit of a mess. Hang on, go to the next page. This is really little, I can't read that. Factoring in that they will lose 130 examiners a year in real terms, we should see an increase of 300 examiners across Great Britain. I don't think that's still enough. Now, I know that my standard check 1 year is due, except I haven't been sent the email, which means that I'm not getting one. And they normally send you 8 weeks in advance, so therefore I'm not getting one till probably February, except my badge is due for renewal in July. So I think I know what will happen. Sorry, I was waving. So mine's not due till, my badge is not due till July. I think what will happen is I'll apply for my badge and they'll stick me a standard check in then rather than now. And also my pass rate isn't industry standard. It's supposed to be like 60, I think, 60%, something like that. I'm not really bothered. I'm not even going to look it up. Don't bother looking it up, because I know mine's like 53 on the app. So yeah, it's a bit sucky, but that's the way it goes. Shit happens. Got a new car. Hopefully some of those tests that wouldn't have passed will now pass, because they'll be able to see speeds, or they'll be able to have a higher road position, or they'll be able to see more, or maybe the car will help them out in some way. Anyway, I digress. They are looking forward to getting new driving examiners in the field, but admitted that there were a significant number of challenges seen in North Wales when the average waiting time had significantly gone up where there was no available driving tests. The DVSA were in contact with the North Wales ADI teams and had offered support and are putting in provision to help resolve the issue. Yes. When questioned when the 450 new examiners will be in place, the DVSA replied that this will depend on the recruitment process. In other words, they don't know. Asking about long-term resource management, once test times go down, will those hired full-time be reallocated to other roles? DVSA says that this has been considered with a plan in place for natural attrition and redeployment. In other words, if they solve these problems, is it really going to help anything? Probably not. And when they solve the waiting time and they get everything down to 6 weeks, they're going to take the people away, so the waiting time will go back up. The waiting time should actually only be 6 weeks. Now, we're getting into 2025 in a few weeks' time, and those tests are showing April, May 2025. It's 5 years after the pandemic. And the crisis of 2021 was 4 years ago, 4.5 years ago, coming up. That seems absolutely ridiculous that it's taken this amount of time. Even in the hospitals, at least they've got some of the waiting lists down. Silly. Jesus. This goes on about some DVSA stuff about approved driving instructor. So DVSA reported that volumes of applications for approved driving instructor part 2 and 3, this is the practical tests, have stabilised with an average of 1,500 starting the qualification process per month. Demand, however, remains very high with the service under pressure. A large number of part 3 tests, that's the one where you get the green badge, are being cancelled. Basically, people are going on their pink badges, their potential driving instructor badges, the trainee badges, and staying on them, and because you can get them renewed. And they're not bothering with the part 3. They're making as much money as they can for like a year and a half or something, and then just not bothering to do the part 3 test. Once they've got a ton of money, they just bugger off out. So what's the point in doing a part 3 test? Because you're not forced to do it anymore, because there's no capacity in the system. What's the point in doing that part 3 test with all the stress when you can just go and train people on a trainee badge for 18 months, and then if you don't like the job, you don't have to do the exam at the end? This is kind of the opinion of somebody I actually spoke to in a driving test centre who said, oh, I'm on my 4th pink badge. And I was like, 2 years. I said, how are you? Because they had no capacity for it, and also I didn't apply for it. I said, so if you don't apply, does that mean that you don't have to do it? And they went, yeah. Where when I did mine, they kind of forced you to apply for it. So a large number of part 3 tests are being cancelled. The union thing, the NASP, said that this was concerning, and the DVSA plan to explore this and see what can be done to help reduce this. That's really easy. Get them to commit to doing the practical driving test, the instructional test. The number of ADIs on the register as of the 4th of November 2024 was 41,484. That's presuming that's the people, that's everybody with the badge. Now, some people haven't had standard checks in the last 4 years, and I know that some of them have come off. So even if you took 1,000 out of that, about 41-ish thousand driving instructors spread across the UK, which isn't enough. But anyway, interest remains high for joining a audit scheme or training scheme. Well, this is, yeah. Standard checks are continuing to be prioritised for those who are considered to be at higher risk. That's anybody who scored less than 40, which didn't get like a part A or get a grade A or whatever it is. Now, I'm in a grade B and I'm considered a high risk. So I wonder if I've gotten mine. I hate the thing. I'll always admit, I made one of my first videos was about hating the Part 3 or the standard check. I think it's a complete utter waste of time. I could put in lots of sweary words here, and yeah, I hate the thing. There we go. I think it's a waste of time. I think there's another way to do this, and we're going to come back to that in a second. DVSA is looking at the data from the ADI qualification test survey and will hold a follow-up workshop with the union NASP, reviewing how theory can be better integrated into practice. I think it's just you being in the car, getting the experience and making your own mistakes. I'm not saying you're going to drive into shit. I'm not saying you're going to drive into a car. I'm not saying you're going to let people drive into junctions, do something dangerous. What I'm saying is that I think as a driving instructor, you've got to gain your own experience and let things happen and then take control. The way that the DVSA wants to do it isn't necessarily how it happens in real time out there. It's impossible. Even thinking quick on your feet, and I'm not a good quick thinker. I read a lot of stuff. It's really difficult. DVSA annual AGI survey took place 1st to the 30th of September. It received 5,620 responses out of the 41,000. The results will be published soon, which I'll make a video for. The DVSA communication look at research with the parents of learner drivers, pre-post and etc. The ADIs are less aware of ready to pass. I don't think that's necessarily true. Yeah, I think the DVSA are getting complicated without getting complicated. They don't need to. And the DVSA promised to do the following. So this is the last bit. If you're bored, you've already switched off. I brought up some relevant points here, but the DVSA have added a function where vehicles presented for test are checked for valid MOTs with the aim of the supporting examiner and driving health and safety. I think that when you put that registration in, what's wrong with doing it as an AMPR, tax, insurance, license, everything. I think that once they do that on a driving test and record your registration, I got a thing on my phone that does it in half a second. What's wrong with doing that? What's wrong with it? They've added a function. Why weren't they doing this 10 years ago? It was available 10 years ago. DVSA reviewing the guidance for sitting in on driving tests. I have no idea what that means. Any ideas? Somebody can answer that one. The DVSA is carrying out a review in the end-to-end ADI qualification journey. That's the bit that I'm interested in because it's sucky and doesn't really work. Because it works if you're on the ground. Anyway. DVSA are also reviewing the fleet training scheme, which is another badge you can get that is it's like a yellow one, I think. There's like four different badges that you can get. The one that you pass is green, and then there's other different colours, and you can get different thingy, and they're on about reviewing that if you're a fleet thingy. The NASP was very supportive of the DVSA's work spent on emergency vehicle quality checks and how it can better thing. NASP asked for data on last-minute cancellations for tests, which wasn't given. NASP felt the system is being overcome by people cancelling the test when they've changed it 5 times and when they rebook it with a new booking number. That's probably true. So if you've changed it like 5 times because the app's done it and it says you can't change it anymore, you just cancel it and just book another one and the app does it again. So you've actually got an infinite number of changes if you really, really wanted to, because you get a refund on it all the time. A full refund as well. There's no booking charge. The DVSA's own cancellation booking service is part of the list of requirements for a new IT booking system. Work is progressing on designating a service for the future. In other words, this is going to stop the bots because the booking system at the moment is a bit old and needs basically fixing. So the only way to fix it is just create a whole new booking system. The NASP clarified that when ADIs and PDIs swap tests using data from new pupils, they must tell the pupils that they are using their data. That's true. Yeah, you must tell somebody using data. NASP asked about whistleblowing policy for those reporting ADIs who were fraudulently offering Learners test for financial benefit. Yeah, you shouldn't do that. DVSA stressed the balance of confidentiality versus gathering of evidence, and the DVSA is to supply guidance on whistleblowing policy to. Anyway, what have we taken from this? Well, basically, the DVSA say that the training doesn't work, even though they implemented it and they want to change it. The booking system doesn't work, they want to change that, and yeah. And there's not a lot they can do about it, but they're trying to put new people in the role. And it sounds very heavy. It sounds like finger pointing again. It sounds like people pointing fingers at everybody. It's not about the waiting times. Does the waiting times really matter? Probably not. It probably does to you as a student, but for an instructor, probably not. Because I've had to knock loads on because I got the new car because we weren't ready. It's very complex, isn't it? Yeah, very complex. Anyway, if you like what you saw, like, comment, subscribe, put comments in. Tell us what you think about this whole the DVSA meeting. And this happens every 3 months. I've never bothered with it before. I've never bothered looking at these before because they weren't of value and they never have anything interesting to say. This one has something to say, because they're admitting there's a fault. So the DVSA failed again. Yes, I won. Or have I sort of lost, really, haven't I? Maybe. Anyway, if you're having a great week, if you're watching this at the week, enjoy your week. If you're watching at the weekend, enjoy your weekend. I hope you have a fantastic time. It's going to get very cold again. It's been cold. It's windy today. It's been a big storm gone through. Stay safe. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.